Alright, so the destinical mind of the Jews of Israel, the state of Israel, appeared in front of me and requested that I do the duty, prophetic and military foresight upon the destiny of the Jewish state. Ladies and gentlemen, 30% is the price. You know, the Jews have done things to the world, positive and negative. And there is an account, the Bible talks about it in the Old Testament. And then there are more accounts, and all the accounts of all the Jews. Whoever has Jewish blood, you have done things, and there is a mind of of the bloodline, that gets the energy to do what it wants to do in this universe. It's like a competition. If you do a lot for the world, you can claim lots of the world. So, as the West knows, the Jews brought Moses, and that brought the law, and that brought the Messiah, because the Jews had to follow the laws. And then the blessing of God fell upon them, and Jesus Christ appeared. And Jesus Christ sent Jews into Greece, and out of that came what you see around you, which is called the Age of Grace. And that is what Westerners call a Judeo-Christian civilization. That is the legacy of the Jewish kind. So the amount of generational energy, the thing I define as karmic velocity, that the mind of Israel can summon any second of the day, yes, I'm taking 30% of that right now. The words that I'm about to speak, that is the price you will pay. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, I draw a lot of information about the future of Israel. However, that might not even be the most important thing about this podcast of today. So today I'm going to go even more out of persona than in the last episode where I talked about the future of Taiwan, that China would simulate them successfully, and that the United States needs to consider if they truly want to have Taiwan as what people would call collateral damage. There are issues in the world, ladies and gentlemen, and we are living under what is known as American Empire. I want you to fully understand this, because I'm watching a mind that is older than the Westerner mind. This grace of God becoming empire, happened during the 2nd or 3rd century, when the Roman emperor took Christianity as state religion, and out of that flown all kinds of Christian denominations. Christian nations came and went, rising and fallen, and that mantle is upon the United States, whereby the United States is ruling the world with the Roman fist of iron. That is what you're living in, and you're seeing that this empire is declining so bad, ladies and gentlemen, that, I got born in this climate, Chinese azure dragon throne soul, 5,000 years of what is called civilizer authority. So I need to explain all kinds of theological concepts to the Jewish kind, and I'm going to do that properly because I see an opportunity. When the Jewish destiny, you are going somewhere, Jewish people in Israel, your destiny is going somewhere, and you're going to do you. And much of what you are going to do is set in stone, because in the Old Testament, the Tanakh, is written what Prophet Daniel was allowed to see about the Jewish destiny at the very end. So much of it is set in stone. So what can I do? People of Israel. You have your Old Testament, and some of you believe in the New Testament, so about the future is written in the Old Testament, in the book of Daniel, and in the New Testament, in the book of Revelation. What more can there be delivered to Israel? So that is what I'm about to go and try to deliver, because if I speak the words that improve the timeline of Israel, people of Israel, there's something I understand that you might understand, but there is a certain power you're drawing over there. The people here in the West are not so, let's say, overseer type of minds, because they don't have imperial blood. I don't talk about that in the other episodes, because what is it worth? What's the worth of that? The bloodline exiled out of China, going into Latin America, being colonized by the Dutch, ending up in the Netherlands, who was colonized by the Germans, ending up here in Germany. A line that is really old, dethroned, full of curses. It's very difficult to maintain an imperial soul like that. However, when you can maintain that imperial soul, yes, when I awoke the power of destiny, these prophetic podcasts are the results of that. Yeah, it's pretty easy for me. Yes, this kind of thing. What for Westerners is not easy, but this is the West. So I carry a very ancient imperial soul who was very cursed, purified the curses, explained the teaching in these prophetic episodes, try to correct the course of humanity by doing what I do, and so I acquire the fortune, the blessings, the percentages of karmic velocity of other nations, whereby I walk around as if I'm super blessed, which I'm not. Don't get me wrong, I purified the curses, and I restarted the destiny, and I'm crawling, so to say, into the future. At least I'm going into the future, but it's not that fast. So every generational blessing, karmic velocity energy from all these nations is like cheating, people of Israel. Those are not my blessings. Those are the blessings of other nations that I acquired, and that I'm concentrating into a fist whereby I can just crush the future. Also the Israeli one. Can you imagine that? Is there a sage in Israel who can see the future? Why not? Have you not questioned that, people of Israel? Do you not question why is there no prophet in Israel? Is Israel not famous for having prophets? Why is so silent? Why is nothing happening, ladies and gentlemen? So the mind of the Jews, at least of the Jewish state, which is older than the mind of the Roman destiny, you have I don't know how to call this. I'm making this up on the fly because these definitions do not exist. What I'm doing here, it doesn't exist. The climate of the West is not the most ideal climate for Christianity, let alone for people who claim to connect to the other side and bring it here. There's no such climate for that. And that same climate does not exist in Israel, because religion is this and that and, not favorable. People don't stimulate that. It doesn't make money, so why should you have that? Because the only thing that you are allowed to do is that which profits the state. Pay your taxes, increase your income, pay more taxes. So what religion? Stop wasting time. So this is called grand mastery. In ancient West, you had painters and all kinds of artists and people who live above the standard. They just do things because they can. So I just do this because I can. And sure, people try to stop me. Yes, entire nation try to stop me. And I don't come online and go play the victim. That's not why I'm doing this. Because Jewish kind, I just want you to understand something. I win when you win because you're going to pay. You have technology over there in Israel that the Westerners do not have access to, and I don't have access to, and I will get access to if I find a way to advance your civilization. So you better listen to me. You win, I win. So that's why I'm going to go out of persona and go a little bit deeper in the personal so that you understand. The Dutch people thought it was a great idea to just try to stop what is happening here. Do you see prophetic military foresight at Grand Master level? Do you see what that can do, during a war? That is the difference between win and loss. But during time of peace, there's no need for such right? So just get rid of it. People try to get rid of it, and so I spent a considerate amount of time in prison, just like in the Bible, just like these apostles of Jesus Christ, rotting in that prison. Yes, a considerate amount of time. So that's 21 times that I have been convicted that way. So that makes me a convicted felon, and that is unimaginable, because I commit no crime. It's not that I'm a crime committer. No, it is I open the Bible, and I speak the word of God, and that is hate speech, and that is hate crime, and this crime, and that crime, and insult, and blah, 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 and so you go behind bars. I have seen magistrates and judges corrupt evidence, so I'm not going to go in the victim role. What I want you to understand, people of Israel, I have this Dutch passport, which I cursed twice. I cursed that passport twice. I wandered around in Germany, and what am I doing? I'm trying to get rid of the Germans. I know that sounds weird, and I'm not racist against German in the sense like how people are racist. No, I just go like this. This is my city. Get the fuck out. Now this Israeli mind is here. I'm walking in the same German city, and I'm watching these railroads and going like, what the fuck, man? There is a certain emotional energy coming off the mind of the Jews. Yes, it might be that I'm walking over railroads where once Jews were deported. That actually might be the case. So sure, out of Dutch civilizations, they and we have been taught that the history, so I am aware when I go to the graves of the Germans, sometimes there are these Nazis buried in these graves, yes. And when I walk around that, I also go like, what the fuck is this? How can you bury them in honor like that? Sure. So don't get me wrong, just because I wandered around in Germany does not mean that I am a German. I explained to you how this Chinese dragon throne soul ended up in Germany. This cursing of the throne, exile, all of a sudden ending up in South America, then all of a sudden being colonized, all of a sudden ending up in a colonized nation, all of a sudden ending up among the colonizers. So this is a very complex kind of understanding that will only confuse people with souls that are at most, 1,800 years old? Romans? You know what I mean? You know how old the Chinese are, and the Indians, and these other civilizations in the East? Alright? So, me versus them, people of Israel, is not a competition. I boast and go like this. America, 250 years old. Yeah, sure, God with America, and sure, America had big ups, but it will have big downs. It's the first cycle. America is like a child that grew really fast and became arrogant and will have the legendary downfall. This is ABC spirituality. But this ABC spirituality cannot be digested by these individuals over there, whereby everything needs to be simplified. I know I don't have to simplify anything to the Jews, because the Jewish civilization system is 3,000 years old, and it is different. It is different, ladies and gentlemen. There's information drawn out of the Jewish civilization. The Bible shows it. The Jews are capable of ruling the world. If you read the stories of King Solomon of Israel, the third king, how all the queens and concubines, all the kings, the queens and the princesses went to Israel to marry a king of Israel. It looks, the Old Testament gives you an idea that Israel used to be a world power. Yes, it is. This authority system that I am grand master over. Yes, this is what it is. When I scan the future of a nation, I need two things. Declassification right, and I need grand master right. So we have two individuals in Israel, a president and a prime minister, Herzog and Netanyahu, and they are connected to this mind 24 hours a day. And when something threatens the Jews, this wakes them up. And they do what this wants them to do. So they and their direct ancestors, yes, you walked among these Germans. Unbelievable. And I am still walking among these Germans. Just you in Israel understand. You are older You already went through a whole bunch of stuff that other nations are still going through. Yes, Roman grace, Roman Empire, global thing. Yes, the passport system of the West, the banking system of the West, the American Empire. Yes, it's world power. Look at how these Americans can rule the world, just like how the Jews in the ancient Israel ruled the world. The women of the ancient world danced to the feet of Jewish men. So the women of this world dance to American feet. These Americans are going so far. I don't know if you heard about the pedo cabal stories, but it's coming up. You know, your ancestors, people of Israel, they burned babies for false gods. All kinds of stuff you've been found doing. America's doing not the same thing in the sense. It is the same gravity of crime. It's just a little bit different. Different age, different crime, same negativity. So people of Israel and authorities of Israel are trying to push your destiny into the future, which is not an easy thing. With the power of Israel, yes, I have it. Listen, Israel, you do not know the grace of God. This 3,000-year world empire seat of authority, yes, I'm using that power to address you. It has world empire capacity, but no, it's not by the grace of God. You don't know what the grace of God is. So when you sit on the throne of the world, people of Israel, and you go wrong, you will get smashed by heaven without any mercy. How dare you challenge heaven? That is a little bit what's going on over there, whereby God grants the Jews world dominance, but not in a gracious way. The Jewish destiny did not evolve there. I hope you can still follow me, people and authorities of Israel. I'm doing my best here. So let's go back to the story of the Netherlands. So you see the spiritual enlightenment. It is not Westerner, but I am in the West, and it is Westernizing. It is Christianity. So it has Roman energy in here. Yes, it's a mixture of East and West, and I'm trying to professionalize it in such a way that it can be of service to nations during a time of war. Prophetic and military foresight. That's a service that no other individual on the earth can provide, because you all used your free will to do other things like getting rich or whatever you wanted to do with your time on this earth. Well, I had other ambitions because I'm not a slave and I don't have a slave mentality. It is just the way it is. I went on a quest for wisdom. I'm not going to do all that stuff. You kind of understand that I'm that type of person that does not dance to the rules. I don't dance to the program. I don't dance to the tune of the Matrix. You know, I see what the Matrix says, and I intersect that thing, and I go like, your history. It just takes a lot of time and energy to get this done. You learn the rules of the game, you defeat the game. You're not actually going to get lost in the game, like these Westerners, running after money and other mundane things. Okay, let me not go there, but just that you understand what you're dealing with. I have the information, and I'm going to show you. These Dutch people who put me in the prison, it feels really weird. I'm telling you the truth, it feels weird. Sitting in a prison. At the beginning, it's like, okay, the Bible says, Christian gonna go persecuted for Jesus Christ, carry your cross. So you're sitting in the prison, you know, as a Christian and going like, yeah, this is Christian life. It's not, praying and then sure, the grace of God fell upon me and, God was with me in the prison and God spoke with me in the prison, gave me revelations and stuff. Really interesting experiences. It is just the way it is. Or some people are isolated and some people are not. So I had an isolated life. It's nothing weird. Monarchies are always isolated. They don't mix with the commoners. So, I had a destiny. I had family honor, not meant to be like them. Not born to be a commoner, not born to be a hunter-gatherer. I know it sounds very, very elitarian, but that is just the nature of my soul. Hallelujah, how you doing? Right, so these so-called little people in the Netherlands, little kingdom, in the sea land, the sea land people put me in the fucking prisons. That's how this feels, ladies and gentlemen. I go like, wait a second. There you go. Dutch lion throne. Whoa, Dutch roaring lion. Oh, yes. How long will that take me to walk the fuck over that? That's a little bit what happened, people of Israel. So these people that's what happened, people of Israel. I felt offended. It offended me what these Dutch people did. Because I went out there in their civilization and I started preaching this Bible. I became like them because they're Christian. So I was like, let me go in their churches and take their religion and try to fix their society to only be criminalized and demonized. And I go like, wait a second. Let me rethink this thing. When I lived as the sinner, when I was the sinner, nobody paid any attention. And now I'm repenting of that stuff and I'm doing what I ought to do. And now the whole nation is using front cover newspapers to murder my character. I felt personally offended. I felt so offended. I erased these people out of my fucking brain. It is done. There is no reconciliation for these people. So it took me a lot of years, people of Israel, to just forget about it and not fight back. Not fight back. These are Dutch people, 400 years old. 400 years old. Ups and downs, whatever. They had a cycle like that. They made their mistakes. Just like how the Jews, in the Old Testament is written, the Jews killed prophets, they stoned prophets, they put prophets in shitholes. People, own civilization, how they deal with prophets? Well, the Dutch dealt with it that way. That stage of civilization, let's get over with it. God forgave me, let me forgive them. But that don't make me friends with them. That don't make me come online and go like, hey, I got a Dutch passport. Fuck this shit. No, I have other plans. This is city-state of Lübeck, and I'm going to get the blessing of God. I'm going to get whatever I need, whatever karmic positivity I need to find the road to create the city-state and get rid of everyone that's like a crazy Satanist or anything else. It's like I don't want to go too deep in this. I'll do this thing myself. I'll redesign this thing in a way that it will work. So other nations want to rebuild the civilization, save America, save Israel, no. I will create something new. That's a whole other level. That's a whole other game. Before there was Japan, there was no Japan, and one guy walked around and fixed it and became emperor. So I'm not ambitioning like that, but I know I'm going to restart this thing. I don't want to fix it. I will restart this thing. This is a little bit the energy that is inside of me. And Germany just doesn't have what it takes to stop it, I assure you this. All right? So I'm going to point this energy at you, Israel. Again. There is no reconciliation between me and the Dutch people. Why am I telling you this? Why am I wasting your time with this type of personal information? The Bible says that for God's name's sake, He will draw you back into your own land. In the book, Old Testament. The Bible talks about God is going to do this for Israel, He's going to do that for Israel, but not for you people over there, but for His name's sake. The Bible is the Old Testament. If you do not acknowledge New Testament, I'm not even talking about that. It is in the Old Testament. God will do this and that and this and that for His name's sake, not for you. That is a little bit the relationship God has with you, Jewish kind. And I understand that, because that is the same way how I look at little Netherlands, 12 provinces over there at the other side of the ocean, little province state. Don't get me started. So I kind of see the design of this thing, and that's why I'm using my personal experience to help you, Jewish kind, enlighten your minds on how God feels about you. Because I came across some information about your future, and I think this is the best way to open this podcast, prophetic podcast, military and prophetic foresight, Jewish destiny. 3,000 years old, world empire, capable civilization, but it's not in the grace. No grace. So the Romans have like 1,800 years, world empire capable, but under grace. Under the grace of God. So when they go wrong, hello Jews, how you doing? When the Romans go wrong, oh well, Roman Empire gone, German Empire come. Whatever, okay, that go wrong. Okay, German Empire, bye-bye, British Empire, la 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 la. Not a big issue. Okay, what about American Empire? There is no cancel. No cancel. The timeline does not cancel. It just jumps to another group. It goes from one clan to the other clan, and okay, you don't want it, okay, that clan over there, that's how this goes here in the West. So this is also world empire type of stuff. I am also authorized here in the West to see the empire, and to see the decline of it, and to see the troubles here. So I know it is 1800 years old, but my soul older than all of this stuff. The capacity of imperialism in my soul older than Israel, older than the West. But people of Israel, what you need to understand, it is not by the grace of God. The soul that is inside of me is not an instrument of God's grace. It is an instrument of civilization. I have been born to combat the barbarians. I have been born to civilize the barbarians. As a warrior against the barbarians. It's called the civilizing authority. You have those kind of nations all over the place. They're not necessarily God's nations. They're just civilizing nations. You have a bunch of Huns, and there, poof, a civilization shows up and civilizes the barbarians. That kind of soul. The Chinese do that. Other nations do that. Or the Chinese did that, you know. Those type of civilization. It's that type of soul. So the West, the Roman Empire type of civilization system, is instrument of God. It has been instrument of God. So it is a different classification. So the Jewish destiny has a different classification. So you got to understand this thing. God has two sons. It's the Jews and it's the Romans. Like the Bible says. First it was the Jew and then the Gentile. The two products of God's grace. God chose Abraham and then Moses and then Jesus, and this came into existence. The world's civilization. Two different. So the Bible talks about that God will give the grace to the Gentiles to provoke the Jew to jealousy. Because, yeah, I guess you people really offended God. I'm telling you the truth. I'm making this. You get extra time. Other nations get 15 minutes until half an hour. I'll give you extra time. I'm going to reach your future. So I'm seeing that Israel will nuke Iran. Okay? So I'm just going to read the list. I gave you the introduction. You have a difficult relationship with God. And I'm going to give you information that's very confronting. And I think this is the proper introduction. The Western world seat is won by grace. And it does not know being cancelled by God. And the Israeli world empire seat knows what it is like to be cancelled by God. And the world doesn't have a clue. And there are some nations in the world who are civilizing authorities, and they see the mystic, you know? Like how Jesus walked on the earth, and the Romans kind of knew this is weird. Something divinity is going on here. They just were not part of that. The Jews were divinity, part of that. And the Romans were intelligent enough to see this is beyond civilization. This is excellency. How do you do this? They knew they were witnessing something beyond their capability. So there are going to be civilizations on this earth that are going to hear what I am saying and say, this is not the ordinary thing. This is beyond. That's just how it is. So we have two civilizations that are world capable, and we have multiple civilizers that are not direct instruments of God, and then you have the barbarians. Okay, this is the classification of civilization. So you understand that I fully am able to, as Grand Master of the Destinical Mind of Israel, to see where you are and what you are, and what I'm dealing with. That you understand that you're not dealing with some wise in the own eyes amateur like there are many in the West. So I saw Israel nuke Iran. So Israel only has enemies. Israel doesn't make deals and is always aggressive because this is a survival instinct. The survival instinct of the world doesn't understand this because they don't know how it is like to once in a while face extermination. So when I'm watching the mind of Israel, I'm looking at something that goes like this. Kill or be killed. The collective consciousness. You kill or you are killed. So I saw that the Mossad was going after the Ayatollah of Iran, and I think that the intent of this video is to let you all know that the assassination attempt that is planned against this Ayatollah would be successful, yes. I saw him being assassinated by an organization that is known as Mossad. Yes, and Russia will attack Israel. It says I was watching it. I'm telling you the truth. This Russia will attack Israel. Yes, and the Jews, religious Jews, know this event as the Battle of Gog and Magog. Yes, I'm watching the future, and yes, the day you see Russia charging against Israel, you're seeing Gog versus Magog. So I don't have to prophesy what's going to happen, right? You just open the scripture, and it says what's going to happen on the Battle of Gog of Magog. Well, that's going to happen when Russia comes. So the oldest godly instrument timeline is Israeli destiny, and your destiny is more negative than positive. Oh, this is so complicated, ladies and gentlemen. The way how the Israeli destiny is operating is not accepted on the earth because it doesn't harmonize. So it is difficult. It's the civilization level of Israel right now is an eye for an eye. Kill or be killed. So if you run around on the world like that, you know, you're not seen as a harmonizer. And when you start enforcing eye for an eye type of civilization, yeah, you're not going to be perceived as a higher civilization, and people are going to jump on you and go like, civilize yourself, you know. Israel is a state, and I have contacted the state of Israel myself with complaints about genocide and shameful behaviors, And yeah, these are justified feelings the world has. But the world, like I spoke about in earlier publications, yeah, the world doesn't know what it is like to be hunted once in a while, Like here in the West, 1800 years, and God never canceled it. So the West was never hunted, you know what I mean? People of Israel, you know what I'm talking about. No, nobody came to hunt for Westerners. So the Westerners are going to look at the Jew and go like, what's wrong? Why can't you just make peace? No. It is very clear. Nobody wants peace with Israel. There is no such thing. So when you're living in this collective consciousness that everyone hates you and nobody wants peace, and once in a while you see in the Old Testament stories in the book of Esther where they want to kill all the Jews, and then in modern times what the Germans did, it doesn't matter. Modern days or old days, once in a while everyone goes like, let's kill the Jews, right? So when you're living under that type of consciousness, yeah, try making peace deals. You know that nobody wants peace. So you develop in something, and I know very well how that is like, in a sense. I know there's no discussion with an atheist. If I go walk in society as prophet of God and start doing me, yeah, 21 convictions. There is no fucking discussions with fucking primates. Okay? It is the way it is. I'm not going to make peace deals with these people because these people look at religion as the worst thing in the world, right? So there is no negotiation. So there is also for a Jew, there is no negotiation. Everyone, not everyone, but the majority is simply against the Jews. Whatever they will do, under some kind of a spiritual influence, they want to give the Jew the lower hand. You can be a Jew, but you can't have an own state. Blah, 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 blah. It is all forms of hatred. So when you live under that type of hatred, of course you're going to have a different psychology. And always are going to look out. We're like, no, maybe wasting time with peace deal. Get the fuck out now. We got no time for this. So somebody's threatening us. Okay, fuck you. Stop threatening us. And also you become very aggressive. That is what Israel is. This is how it's looking like. This is like, you don't want to listen? Okay, fuck you. And, that's a little bit the energy that's coming out of Israel. It's like this. So you guys want to fight? No fucking problem. Bam! Fuck you. And just in the hope that this excessive amount of aggression just makes them stop. Of course it won't stop. So it is a very difficult destiny, this Jewish destiny. So this destiny is taken for 3,000 years old. It doesn't know grace, and it has been discontinued like 3 times. The West does not know this type of discontinuation because of the grace of God. So this thing, which is called New World Order, is the first discontinuation that the West will see. The Bible talks about the one world government, one world religion, mark of the beast, and it talks about this huge drama. The huge death and destruction upon humanity. The unrolling of the scrolls, millions of people dying. That's called the cancel. The cancel of the Roman system, which is now the American system, when God cancels this thing. Just like how God canceled the Jewish destiny multiple times. When the grace of God runs out for the West. Yeah, when that happens in the collective destiny of the West, and the collective destiny of the West would recover from that, how the Jews recovered from that, yeah, maybe that Western Empire would understand why the Jews would be so, quote-unquote, aggressive. So it is easy to sit in the comforts of God's grace and look at your older brother and go like, wow, why is older brother so aggressive? You know? So it's easy to talk it's easy to judge a poor man when you're a rich man. It's a little bit that type of thinking that the West doesn't understand. So it's not that fair. The judgment that the West has upon Israel is not really fair. It is real. Crime is crime, but there is context. There is accountability and all kinds of psychological and psychiatrical factors, yes. And there are all kinds of surrounding factors. Just like how in court, when you have circumstances, problems in the family and stuff, that reduces the sentence. And the international community, I don't think they want to talk like that about the current Jewish condition. They just want to have maximum punishment. You know, it's just the way it is. This is called hatred. The whole world hates the Jew. It's the same story. The whole world hates America. You know, Donald Trump does this and the whole world goes like, whoa, you know. Don't vote for Donald Trump. Vote for everyone but Trump, right? It is the familiar spirits of America, which is a world empire system. Well, guess what? Jewish states, same type of world empire system. You know, it is very impoverished, spiritually seen. So, yeah, the same type of hatred. You know, if you're negative, the whole world will hate you because it's a world empire system. That is truly what we're dealing with. So, sure. The family honor in Israel is depleting, and that's why people are being repurposed. Priests being sent into the army, paying taxes to Israel's destiny. You know, if you have family honor and you've been born to be a priest, but God cast you out, well, you're still in Israel, so you can be reused. That's what's going on over there. Left and right, honor is being lost. And because of Israel's history, the West is in debt to it, and the West can do no other thing than to repay and enable Israel. However, those times are ending. It's a very difficult concept. So all the good things the Jews did in the history of man to the world gives them an account. And this account is running dry, whereby all of a sudden, when you make a mistake, all of a sudden you're being confronted with that and no longer tolerated because the blessings are running out. So the Jewish destiny is at a very critical moment. It cannot rely on the past anymore. The engine of the past is almost abused. It's still there a little bit. I'm using it right now. I mean, it's a very complicated podcast and I'm just doing it. There still is positive energy going on here. But this will run out sooner or later. You know, so there's no temple in Israel. This is very important for you to understand in Israel and the rest of the world. Your spiritual connect is what that's called. It's not there. It's not there. You're cursed. You know, it's hard to digest. I understand. Your destiny is cursed. And let me tell you something, people of Israel. So you have a destiny, yes, but it's not your original destiny. Because your original destiny has a temple. That you're not, this Israel is not Israel. Hear me out. So, you know, all these Jewish coats of arms, you know, these Jewish families with coats of arms, they're all Westerner style, right? So, hey, people of Israel, the Westerners have done a bunch of stuff to you. And so all of that Westerner birthright enters your bloodlines, you know, that's the justice of God. One family, crime against another family, poof, the transfer of the power. You know, the Egyptians put Joseph in the prison, poof, you rise to power. All of a sudden, Joseph was working with the Pharaoh. It works like that. So the Jewish state is simply Roman destiny. Like I say, it is Westerner. So the Westerners have committed all these crimes against your families, Israelites, and you got their power. Not all of it, but, you know, in justice measure. You're running on Westerner power. You're running as if you're under the grace of God, because the people under the grace of God crimed against your bloodlines. Right? So there is a big, giant question that people have. Are the Jews controlling America, or are the Americans controlling the Jews? Because that's what people here in the West, these youngsters, spiritual youngsters, this is what bothers them. Who is the puppet of who? Let me tell you who the puppet of who is. I know it. This Israel is an instrument of the West. No, this West is not an instrument of Israel. The Israel that we talk about when we read the Bible does not exist. It's cursed. Alright, so I have some personal information. Netanyahu is seeking a sign at the wall. In Jerusalem you got the prayer wall. He's seeking it. He keeps it secret to avoid politics, and he gets no answer. God is giving Netanyahu no answer because cursed destiny. God does not talk to a civilizer authority. Netanyahu has no honor as man of God, and this appears to bother him. Right, so I talked about civilizing authority. That's why I talked about that. So the soul I have is a civilizing authority. So that's not a man of God destiny. It's a man that defeats the barbarians' destiny. So when I became a Christian, all of a sudden it's an instrument of God destiny, and then the Spirit of God can talk with me and use me as an instrument. Well, what's going on in Israel has nothing to do with that. The God talking to the Jews type of thing happens when the temple is there. So the Jewish destiny is just running on all kinds of things because of the Jewish history and the interaction with other nations, whereby they have birthright on the earth, but it's not their original birthright, because that has been cancelled. It was never under the grace of God, because the Jews killed the Jesus, and Jesus in the spirit was like, okay, bye-bye, just like how I said the Netherlands, okay, bye-bye, and I go with other nations and I just do my own thing. So God is just doing his own thing with the rest of the world, and the Bible says he does this to provoke the Jews to jealousy. Unbelievable. The complexity of the Jewish destiny. Alright, so Israel is cursed. You're at war against your curses, just like America. America is about to be uncursed and restart with the Trump administration. This podcast is all about that point, the 0 point, where God lifts the curse and grants you a restart. When Trump enters office, this happened in American destiny, and the Jewish destiny is simply not there. But it will be when the temple is built, and according to the Bible that will happen. When that temple is built, the original destiny restarts. Jewish destiny right now is not the original destiny. The current job of Jewish civilization is to civilize barbarians, if be with force. But that's not the original destiny of Israel. So because of the curses, Israel is cursed until the day you see the temple. I'm not saying it's majorly cursed. There's like a gradation of curses. Like Israel has been in worst positions as how it has been now. So it's not super cursed, but it is in the condition of cursing. So it has a whole bunch of familiar spirits. The whole world hates, hate is a familiar spirit. You do something and everyone hates you for it. A curse is something. I'll do this properly. You do something which is the right thing, and when you're cursed, you're going to be punished for that instead of being rewarded. So when the familiar spirits are too much familiar spirits, too much dark energy in pop culture is what that's called. You do the right thing, but you're going to be hated. Right? Everyone hates the Jews, right? All these dark energy, all these familiar spirits. So it is really bad. So every time the Jewish people and the Jewish authority do what is right, it will have consequences. That's the purification process. Like America, Israel is hated. Those are the familiar spirits in Jewish collective bloodline. And because of the world power type of authority system, the whole world can hate you. So both engines of divine civilizations are rotten, and because of that, humanity's in the dark. And this is the disgrace of the first and the second son of God, the Jews and the Romans. So that's a little bit everything that I extracted out of the future. The world is dark because God's plan. First plan with the Jews, second plan with the Romans. Both of you are still alive. but you're all in the deep negative, trying to restart. And then when you restart it, the God's instrument destiny continues. Yeah, and the Bible talks about that in Israel. That doesn't look that well. The end-time prophecies of, the Antichrist walking in there and killing people and fleeing into the mountains is what the Bible says. God giving marks of approval to 144,000 Jews. And if he doesn't do that, the Jewish world get destroyed. Is the type of protection that God needs to give the Jews during that time. It doesn't look that well. And these prophecies that I spoke about, American destiny, that also doesn't look very promising. It looks like a huge battle. The moment you restart, when the moment your nightmare ends and you get the opportunity from God to restart, it is like building a completely new fundament of civilization from the very scrap, and nothing from the past will come. Just like how Moses went into the desert for 40 years. And many died because Egypt could not come to the promised land. That is waiting, ladies and gentlemen. So this was today's podcast, The Future of the Israeli Destiny, and I did it extra. I overdid it so that I hope that this podcast improves the destiny of Israel, because then out of that 3,000 years old instruments of God, civilization type, that the West doesn't know, might come some interesting spiritual technology as recompense for this service, next to the 30% of karmic velocity, the energy of the destinical mind of Israel that I'm taking. The rest of this energy will return to the natural hierarchy system. So, nope, no messages from God for the current Jewish authority, because you are running on Westerner birthright. So when you want to get message from God, you need to get some kind of condition in your soul whereby you no longer are cursed. And if you want to know how to do that, this podcast series has many episodes where I clearly explain how to get the curses, familiar spirits, dead bodies, and rival curse out of your soul, whereby your destiny can restart. And when you arrive there, yes,